You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome, and hopefully it's a welcome back. You're joining us for another show. This is show number 6 for today, and we've got another great one for you. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and you are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah. So let's bring her out. Hello, Pet Psychic Aminah. How are you?
Hello. Great Friday to everybody. Hopefully it's in California. We're talking about a heat wave. It's 100 today. So, we're all in shock, because we get sunnier or less sunnier or sunnier or less sunnier. People always ask, how's the weather? I live in California. Give me a break. I have everything.
That's so nice. We've been hearing about heat waves from different parts of the world. I just had somebody on from Texas, how hot it was there. The UK, where they don't have air conditioning apparently in a lot of the homes.
Yeah.
So it's.
I grew up in swamp coolers. I don't know.
Swamp coolers. No.
Yes. Yeah. I grew up in Southern California in the high desert. So 100. My kids are all like, "Oh my God, I'm melting." I was like, "Give me a break. I played tennis in 100 degrees."
That's funny.
Well, because you had to leave the course by 10 a.m. because otherwise you'd melt, literally, but it could get 100 by then. But with swamp coolers, you had to add water, and they didn't really cool much at all. So
the name wasn't really accurate.
No, it wasn't swamping anybody except for probably money.
Of course. So, Aminah, I want to spotlight you and share a little bit about your background. It's hard to believe that somebody might be watching for the first time, but in case they are, let's give them a little bit of information about you.
Absolutely. So the biggest question I always get is, how did you study for that? How did you become a pet psychic? I was born like this. I've always heard plants, animals, nature. I'm very passionate about it, probably because I've always heard it. I've always wondered, chicken or the egg, which one comes first? And I just surrounded myself. I'm really, really fortunate to have my mother put me in those places. She picked out what each of her children, there were 5 of us, were really, really loved. And she made sure it was in front of us. And we had choices, and we learned to public speak. I have a picture of me doing my first public speaking arrangement that was booked. I was 9. I was talking about rattlesnakes, believe it or not. In the high desert, we've got a few of those, and how to be safe around them, and the antiquated, it's so funny to look at that picture because the antiquated information that we were teaching in that time is so changed. So I get to hear what your pets are saying and doing, and I'm just so excited about today because I've brought in a client that I've had, and it has become a really good friend for years and years, and just the fun things, kind of weird, but fun things, I'm going to say, that I hear and that I deal with. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that. I'm looking forward to your client/friend joining us. Yeah. I wanted to let you know that my plant Daphne now has a friend named Sunny.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And I love the names.
Yeah, I put them right next to each other. They seem to be doing well.
Absolutely. And then remember, because vagrant memories, they're near a window.
Yes.
So then make sure you rotate them every month by a quarter. Because otherwise you get the leaning tower thing, Pisa, whoever that was.
Yes.
So they lean towards the sun. So what happens if you just do a little quarter turn? I mean, really small, because you don't want to shock them or anything like that. And some plants are just, like sunflowers, they just go whoosh, whoosh all day long. You could literally videotape them moving, slow-mo video. But it'll make a more balanced look. You'll get leaves on all sides as opposed to one side that has the sun on it. It's pretty.
That's great information.
And everybody else out there.
I think sometimes, like on the weekends, I'll go for a 7 or 8 mile walk, and I'll see trees, and they're leaning a certain way. And I think for years, it must have taken years for it to,
Exactly.
that big to go that way. So.
And that's what something was moving them that way there. And why roots come up a lot of times, nothing is 100%, but a lot of times the big trees, the oaks and stuff like that, the pines too, they bring their roots up is because the water's on the surface. They're not getting enough depth of water. So they would go down for water usually, and that's why roots go. So if you get those things, especially foundations of homes, root trees are not really a good idea for the plumbing, but you have water in those plumbing. So they're going to come for the drips and all that. It takes time, but that's where trees get in trouble with us, or technically we're getting trouble with them because you're not understanding what you're building or what you're putting in. Is an oak really appropriate, or is it a pine that's appropriate? Or, you have to pick something that's appropriate for where you're at and live in harmony. That's the point. Just know what you bought or going to.
Right. So how can a person get information on that? Because that sounds like something you really need to consider, and I don't think a lot of people are.
You know what? There is the UC throughout University of California is what we have, and any of the universities have Master Gardeners programs. You can really touch them. You can train with them. Actually, you can go to their classes and that kind of stuff, which I assume are all Zooming and that type of stuff. So check with any of the colleges. Also, Parks and Rec. They all, many states have Parks and Rec. The city community educational firm, they'll have classes, especially now. We're kind of getting into the late year, so you look in spring even more so. Go to a gardening center, and I don't mean Lowe's or Home Depot or somebody that just have salespeople. They can't help you with the plants at all. But if you go to a private and or a really reputable grower nursery, they're going to have specialists there, and you can ask them those questions, find out where to read, and then guess what? Do what my kids say. Google it.
Mm-hmm. You just made me think of something. I have a friend who raises monarch butterflies, and she was also saying that I think she feeds them milkweed, but she can't go to any of these big department stores because they have the wrong chemicals.
Variety. Yeah, and chemicals.
Yeah.
People don't realize I did a whole article, and it's on my page now. Bridging Worlds doesn't have it, but the Facebook page does on Bridging Worlds. So I did a whole article on why the monarch butterfly is in trouble. First of all, we're using too many pesticides. And when you get milkweed, and I really encourage this, put in milkweed. It's beautiful. It's highly toxic. That's why the butterfly eats it, because they can ingest that and nobody eats them. It's kind of how it works. Bright colors on them. It is how they protect themselves. So you put in the milkweed, but you have to have local, meaning if you are in Texas, get whatever grows in Texas. If you're in California, you get et cetera, et cetera. You cannot get the ornamental kind that has been altered for beauty, but not for butterflies. I got asked when I put in my first field, my last one was this way. Did I go buy butterflies? No. And one day they were there because I put out food. And they travel up to 500 miles to go from Mexico up through California and around the U.S., wherever yours are coming from. Feed them. Give them something.
Interesting. So, Aminah, I want to ask you a question. I think we have a caller, by the way. So, caller, hold on. We'll be right with you. I wanted to ask you a question. You just mentioned about milkweed is toxic for some species, I guess, except for the monarch butterfly. Oh, for humans. Okay. I don't want it. So I was thinking if you had that around, maybe it would keep mosquitoes away, but that's.
No, it's not its function. Mosquitoes don't eat that type of flower or mosquitoes are about blood. They are the vampires of the insect world. I'm no expert, but this is my, I have been to Alaska. It is all true. Their mosquitoes are like this, their houses, it's a joke up there, but they're really huge. And it's all about blood for them. They're not insects in the traditional way of, that all the bugs that do. The butterflies on the other hand, they need that milkweed. And that's why they're so vibrant in color. it warns the birds and everybody, yeah, don't eat me. I'm bad. Because if you see them in worm stage, they're this bright yellow lime color striped with black, and they're really ostentatious. I mean, it's like a big siren going, boop, 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 don't eat me, don't. And the birds won't, because that's the universal sign in their world. I am bad, I will kill you. Don't eat me.
Leave me alone, stay away. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what's the black widow spider has that red diamond on their belly. You might have to look under their belly, but most animals, insects are coming from the bottom, not from the top. Birds might, but they're going to understand, whoa, yeah, maybe I want to miss that one.
I hope I don't ever get that close to any of those spiders to see what's under belly, because I had no idea that was there, but that's always learning something from you.
Black widow spiders follow me around like my puppies. I had one in my office. It was a very rural, temporary office just to check in, drop off paperwork, and then get back out with the sanctuary I was in. And every single season, I had a brand new spider. So they were all Bob. And I just have one rule. Bob, you eat all the bugs, especially the mosquitoes, and we're going to work fine together.
Bob said, I can work with that.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? All I object to is the ones that are overhead, especially like in the bathroom and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Then you get the old Christmas cup, from that party that you brought home or something, and then a little piece of paper, and you scoop them up and put them outside, because guess what? They eat all the bad bugs. You really want them.
Yes. Yes, you do. You do. I mentioned that we have a caller, and so I think before we bring Patty on, we're going to take a quick break. And this break, I started doing this for some of my shows this week. I'm looking to promote artists. And so this artist's name is ILO, I-L-O. She's out of the UK. And the record label she's affiliated with is Licorice Dragon Records. And the name of her song is Heroes in Disguise. So you can go over to iTunes and you can purchase this song. Wait till you see this performance if you've never seen it before. Every time I watch it, I get all emotional. So here we go. ILO from Licorice Dragon Records.
Great.
Picture this, a life where you can leave your pain, a life where you can start again somehow. Picture this, a vision that can change a prayer, happy heart that's always there in the now. So don't be afraid of fear, even though as long as we're still here, we can be anything larger than life, rise up from the ground. We can fall down over 10,000 times, then turn it all right back around. We never imagined how good life can be, but inside you and me we can see past these ghosts in the mirror. We're heroes in disguise, heroes in disguise. Picture this, losing everything you got, never having had a lot, but holding on and on and on. Don't be afraid to dream, 'cause we are so much closer than it seems. We can be anything larger than life, rise up from the ground. We can fall down over 10,000 times, then turn it all right back around. We never imagined how good life can be, but inside you and me we can see past these ghosts in the mirror. Yeah. heroes in disguise. Heroes in disguise.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah. Hello.
Hello. That was
Hello.
fabulous. The music.
Isn't that moving?
Wow, it's so moving and yeah, she's wonderful. She's wonderful.
I interviewed her with my other hosts on Celebrate Great Britain Royally Rich show, and she had sent, her manager sent the clip in. So the night before I was reviewing materials and I watched it, and I just was like, I was sitting up here behind the green screen and I just was like sobbing. I just kept watching it over and over again. And I thought, let me contact her manager and the record label. And I thought, I want to help promote young artists, and especially in the United States. So we're going to be doing that on a regular basis. I've got some other young artists too. So during the break, I checked and we do have a caller, but I don't hear the caller. Caller, are you there? Oh my gosh, do you hear her?
I don't.
I hear you, Patty. Hold on once. Okay, Aminah doesn't hear you. I hear you fine. Let me turn up.
I'm unmuted, obviously, or you wouldn't hear me.
Yeah, and no, I can hear you fine. Just hold on one second. She can't hear you. Yeah, I don't know. I hear her.
This is why we're doing a test run.
A test run live.
Well, exactly. Because everybody will feel so much better when they have technical difficulties and said, oh, it's humanity. We have issues sometimes.
We do. I'm wondering if I put her on speaker, if you can hear. Patty, can you still hear me? Yeah, I can hear Patty. Let's see. Well, I don't know what to say because I can hear her.
Try calling me and I'll put her on speaker.
Sure. Do you want to do that?
I tested my phone out earlier and she did just fine because that's how I made sure I had the right phone, because she was on her cell phone and then went to a landline and we did all that. And so have to give me a call. Or I can give her a call. Let me give her a call when
Patty, she's going to give you a call, and we'll go from there. I can hear you fine, but it's not being patched through to the broadcast, even though I'm sure you can hear the broadcast, right? Okay.
She hung up?
Yes.
Wonderful. There's always a back door, I believe. I'm sure you found many back doors in your lifetime. I know I have.
Exactly. And while Aminah is doing that, I'll just share with everyone that we have a show coming up right after this. It's another incredibly moving show. This woman's daughter was a victim of sex trafficking, and her mother has started an organization called Child Proof America. And so she's going to be coming on to talk about that. And I love the fact that we're able to discuss some real issues that are not in the news all the time. We had a show on earlier today that was about how people are unknowingly getting poisoned when they are flying. And we had a pilot, a career pilot. He's from the UK. He's been flying for decades, and he got very sick. And as it turns out, he was literally being poisoned by the fumes coming into the cabin.
Wow. Wow, that's really terrible.
Patty, are you with us? Okay, Patty's there. She's called in. Can you hear her, Aminah? Okay,
no wonder I'm getting her voicemail at home. No, I can't hear her yet.
Okay, Patty, welcome to the show. Aminah cannot hear you, but you can hear her and you can hear me, correct? Yeah, she can hear what we're discussing, but we can't hear her on the show. So.
Yeah, and that's going to be pivotal to the story. Tell her, is it okay to have her hang up and
Yes.
you call?
Patty, we're going to ask you to hang up and then give Aminah a call, and she's going to patch you through. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We have to be creative every day, I think. And
yes.
I know a lot of, not a lot, quite a few organizers that are just get all up in arms. And I was like, no, take a deep breath, because it's not going to get better by being stressed. And you just think about it later and go, I learned a lot. I'm never going to do that again, or I will. Or
with all the shows that I broadcast every week, there's something that happens. And I don't get upset about it. You just have to go with it. What is the point of getting all upset?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's terrible energy to put out anyway, that you're going to be exhausted all the time if that's what you keep doing.
Exactly. So for people who are watching, what's going on is that Aminah has a client who's also a friend, and her name is Patty. And Patty is calling into the show. She was able to call in. I can hear her through my headphones, but her voice is not being broadcast. So there's obviously some little button on here that needs to be depressed or unpressed or something. So we will work on that. Exactly. Should we go to a commercial while you try to reach her?
Yeah, let's do one more try. Otherwise, what we can do is the intro. And I can tell you what we're going to talk about and that kind of stuff, because for some reason, all our technology, it says calling. I'm going to hang up and see if she calls in, and I'll stop trying her. So we can either go with the intro and then go to commercial, whichever is your choice.
Sure. Go with the intro. That sounds great.
So I'm really, really fortunate. When I came back from Southern California and was told I needed to go public, if you've seen some of my other talks on how this all started for me, being born with a gift but not doing it publicly, was my lifetime of experience besides college and that type of stuff. So when I came back to the Bay Area where my daughter lives, so I came back up here to stay with her and that kind of stuff. So it was like, oh, well, I'm supposed to do this. And they're like, okay, that sounds great. But how do you do it? And where do you do it? And I was getting horrible headaches and all kinds of things. So I've had this amazing years of experience doing it for others. And Patty was a part of that. She was in a organization called Center for Creative Living. We have Dottie Boone come, and she's one of the head pastor there. So these people help me out. What are you doing? Take a break, protect yourself, don't take on everybody's energy. Patty is older, much older. And so she had, her dog has now passed recently in the last few months, but she has a cat. She adopted this cat as a stray, and the cat is older, would only stay in her bedroom. Wouldn't come out, was gaining a lot of weight, demanding food, just a myriad of problems. And then his poor little bottom just took a leave of having sores and hard time going to the bathroom. And he was so fat now that he couldn't get around to clean it. So she had asked me to come do a home visit. And I don't do a lot of them. It's very expensive. It's also very time consuming and all of that. But she really needed me at home. And we have Patty live. Hi, Patty. Did we make it?
Third time is the charm.
I know. I tried you.
All right.
I'm just telling everybody our story. Jacalyn, you can hear her now?
Yes, I hear her fine.
Yay. I love my phone. Okay, so Patty, I'm just telling them how we met and your little pets. So I figured that's what I do while we were for you, right? Because I tried you. So this was years ago. And I went to do a home visit for her. So when I was, so she called me the day before and said, can you come tomorrow? And I said, yeah, let's do that. So I had met her cat already and in that type of stuff. So, Patty, remind me his name? Charlotte. LaRue's the dog. So Charlotte followed me around all night long. We weren't supposed to get together till whatever, the next day, some point. And so Charlotte followed me around all night long. But guess what Charlotte told me? I don't usually talk to pets ahead of time, but I had worked with Charlotte before. Charlotte kept saying, we're dying. And I'm thinking, are you kidding? I have to go to her house and tell her that you guys are dying. Because see, it was a duality. The cat and Patty were dying. I don't know, you? I think that's above my pay grade to tell somebody that they're passing away. So it was a lot of prayers. It was a lot of getting grounded. It was a lot of going, okay, I'm going to trust that. I've been telling this, and the cat was so insistent. And I never ask ahead of time what people want to talk about. I want it to be very organic. I want to feel it when they say it. I don't need to have it in my head because, again, if I have clients all day, that's a lot of information that I'm not going to retain, and they'll just have to say it again. So I get to Patty's house. We go into the back bedroom. I don't know, Patty, if we took care of his butt that time with bag balm and got it all washed, or that was another time. But I finally just broke down and said, Patty, I got to tell you, I've been told you're going to die. And she's like, oh, so that's the answer. Well, she was asking the cat if he wanted to go with her, and she was very, very sick. So, Patty, tell us it from your side. What was going on?
Okay, I was trying to decide whether to put down the cat or to try to find her another home because I was dying, and I know that she won't go to anybody but me. And so, was I going to make her life miserable and whoever adopted her miserable? So, I was really, really kind of fixated on this for a while. And then she got sick, and I called Aminah about that, never thinking that, I maybe I thought it, but I didn't recognize it, that I was going to ask Aminah, what she thought. Should I put the cat down, or should I leave her to somebody else to put down? So that was the story there. And then Aminah was supposed to come at 3, and she showed up at 1 and said, I'm sorry to be so early, but I've got to tell you something. So she went into the bedroom and explained to me what the cat had been doing all night. I explained to her my situation, that I was trying to figure out whether to put the cat down or try to give her away to somebody. So that's where we were at. The cat is feral. She had been in my bedroom at that point 4 years without coming out. I mean, I slept in there with her, so she was, she wasn't totally isolated, but she would not come out of the bedroom. That was it. She'd sit on the bed and look down the hallway to find out what was happening, but she wouldn't participate. So
yeah, and Patty Patty has a beautiful home with lots of room. She has guests come and parties and things like that. So there's lots of traffic, and Kitty just felt more comfortable, more safe being there. I think we got his weight down, right? So we worked on the weight issue, and we worked on the chapped bottom issue. And luckily, having horses and cattle and things like that in my life, besides studying, there's lots of great things that, old hands and people who work with and have large animals like horses use, that we can use on a little bitty cat bottom and that type of stuff. So I was able to, not put Patty through more stress of having to go to the vet, and the trauma to the cat alone could have been life-threatening, catastrophic because of the stress. So there's that balance. What I love now, a lot of vets will now come out to the house. A lot of pets will come and put your animal down at home in the comfort of your home, surrounded by family. They also have these wonderful couches in the clinics. They're so much more farther forward, understanding these pets are our children, and many people have not had physical kids because they have such a fulfilling life. They didn't need another human being added to the planet. So I love that for Patty and I, we handle death like it would be like talking to Dottie Boone when she comes. We see it all the time. We see spirits, or we see people who have passed. I talk to my father all the time, and I love it. I can't hug him. That's too bad. And he was never a big hugger. That wasn't what they did in his generation. So when his kids got older, we just went up and hugged him and said, "Get over it. This is what we need to do." And he fell in love with it. But it wasn't. It wasn't what his
That
five
generation.
brothers, and he did that generation. So his kids broke him into that. So what's really neat with when you go, this is the big message Patty and I want to share with everybody. When you make any decision, and you know this as a coach, Jacalyn, and you know this as a show, you can literally set up all your shows and something like a phone call or something might go wrong. Well, you just pivot. If you freak out on all of those things, man, you're going to have a heart attack before the 6th show.
You're going to be aging very quickly.
Yes, your life is going to be very short and very wrinkly and very stressful. And some point you just go, we plan, and then it goes the way it's supposed to go. What I didn't know, of course, Patty and I hadn't spent as much time together, hadn't become quite as close as friends as we have. And I didn't know she was talking about dying and the cat. Did I bring the cat, not bring that? Well, the cat had an answer. We are dying. And I'm thinking, that's the first time I've heard the we are dying. And it was like a mantra all night long. So annoying. So what's changed? We're, Patty, what we say, about 2-3 years from that episode?
Yeah, it's just about that, yeah.
Yeah, so here we are, and Patty, by the way, is alive. She's not talking to us from another realm. That would be more than my gifts can do. And so is LaRue, right? LaRue?
Yes,
okay.
LaRue
Always worried
is alive, and Charlotte is alive.
Yeah.
Jazz has died.
That's
the dog died.
That's the one, Jazz. So what changed? Well, Patty's choices. Patty made a choice to get medication, to get her health better, to get the kitty cared for and differently and more. And we really game planned what could she do at home, what she didn't need to go and get a ride to the vet, which was really stressful for Kitty and really hard for Patty. Yes, you can give one to the house, but what could we do? I worked in a vet clinic as a certified vet assistant. And so those tools come in really, really handy that I can share with somebody. So my banner might say Pet Psychic. And that's great. That's the catch term. Every marketer in the world will tell you that's what I need to lead with. But it's so much more. I have a lifetime of experience with just about all types of animals. I have one client, he has snakes. It's a very short conversation because snakes have a little bitty brain, but we talk more caging and habitat and that type of stuff because I've worked with snakes and I've actually had a snake and that type of stuff. So there's more to this. What I want people to think about is anytime you make a decision, that's great. Move forward, don't move forward, whatever you decide, but it's not forever. You can always make another one. If you decide to go to the grocery store today, great, especially if you need food. But if you don't get there, hopefully you can make another choice. Don't beat yourself up when circumstances change. It could be for the better. Patty and Kitty made a different decision. They decided, okay, we're going to get to work. We're going to make life better. And now, Patty, tell us what Kitty does now that Puppy is out of the picture. What is Kitty doing in the house?
Okay, first 2 days she stayed in the room, and the door is always open. She could have come out at any time, but it was her choice to stay in the bedroom, and that was what she did. So pretty soon I see her coming down the hallway. She's left the bedroom. That was day 1. Day 2, she came further down. Day 3, she was in the kitchen. Day 4, she decided she'd have a doggy door. So she saw the other cat, LaRue, go out the door. So she thought, okay, I'll go out the door. Well, now she hits that doggy door in the morning. I put the shield up so I don't have any wild critters coming in at night. But I take it up in the morning, and she goes through that thing like a storm, runs out to the backyard, rolls on the aggregate until she is absolutely full of all kinds of little things that are on the rocks. And she's just so proud of herself. She spends the whole day outside, except when she has to go to the bathroom. She comes in and uses the litter box. She does not understand yet that the backyard is a giant litter box. But She's happy outside. She's even walking in if I have company. Now, she has been totally mine. I mean, nobody could come near her. Amina's the only one who's ever come near her, and that took 2.5 hours to do. So it tries your patience. So anyway, she is now coming in. If I have company, she comes in and she looks at them. And of course, I've told her, please do not touch her. And last week, and this has been going on for about 6 or 8 weeks. Last week, a friend who has been talking to her for months just comes to the door of my bedroom and says, "Hi, Charlotte, I'm Donna." And she explains it, turns around and leaves, never tries to touch the cat.
Good for Donna.
So she says, "Hello, Charlotte, I'm Donna." And Charlotte, of course, recognizes her voice, and she just sits down and looks at the hand like, should I or shouldn't I? Eventually, she allowed her to just put 2 fingers on her forehead. That was as much as she could handle. So we're waiting for her next visit, and then we're going to try to see if we can go a little bit further each time, because she's very, very, I mean, she's just very feral. And I think the dog at some point, although I never saw it, never heard it, the dog frightened her, and she decided that she hated the dog, and until the dog was gone, she just stayed in the bedroom, and now she's outside, she's inside, she's all over the house, she's greeting people when they come in. It's been a whole new
Cat
story, and it's been going on for 4 or 5 weeks now. So it's really nice to see, because it would be nice to have her, accept other people besides myself.
exactly.
And be a little more grounded in her lifestyle. So,
Well, and quality of life right now is really key, and this one is. So my encouragement is by Patty sharing her story and what we've worked on, it gives you a glimpse of just some of my skills, but that's not my big picture takeaway I want you all to do is give yourself time. When you adopt a pet, do we make mistakes? Sometimes, yeah, but if you've made the commitment, get help, look for a trainer, look for somebody like me who can help you explain the conversation better and understand each other's language or insight. I with my own children, I lived with them until they were, 18, 19, 20 years old, and we still have different viewpoints and different ways to get the same place. You want to go left, they want to go right. It's irrelevant, but give somebody time to learn your language and learn your body. And Patty did that. Patty let this wonderful cat who's been stray all its life just hang out in her bedroom and be there and have a couple of, medical issues that we were able to take care of and get her weight down and everything. And now that the dog is gone, which she felt was alpha. So it's like, no, I'm not going with the dog. And of course, as a stray, she's had bad experience with dogs. So it was just time. If you can give an animal, anybody, not just animals, people, time, if they're worth the investment. If they're not, then maybe you need to move on. But an animal, once you adopt it, I hope you all do what Patty's showing you with just give it time. Give it time, and there will be a loving relationship if you're open to it.
Really well said. I love this story, and congratulations on the transformation.
Yeah, nobody died.
Right. We have to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Meet the modern learner. Like most of us, the modern learner is short on time, on the go, and wants to learn on their terms and device of choice. The key is to meet them whenever and wherever they may be. The solution? Best-in-class content served up by the Engagement mobile learning platform, where the modern learner is at the center of the learning experience. For example, they can receive a text message that alerts them to a new learning module. They simply tap, watch, read and engage, or play a fun learning game. We transform your content into modules that are timely, accurate, academically rigorous, yet engaging and robust. Personality motivators are blended with modern adult learning principles to make it faster and more natural to absorb the content and have fun while learning. Our cutting-edge platform offers something for everyone. It can be an immersive experience where learners explore and engage based on what's relevant to them in that moment, or they can follow a set curriculum, earning badges and tracking points toward a credit or goal, or they can dive deeper into high-value professional content relating to their topic of interest. It's binge learning at its best. All this, along with an entire portfolio of real-time usable data and KPIs for stakeholders. Imagine, share up-to-the-minute news, enhance current curriculum, build knowledge banks, drive sales, and foster community in the push of a button. To learn more or see a demo, please contact support@engagement.com.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah. And we just heard from your friend / client, Patty, in the last segment, which was really terrific. We do have a comment from DVA Mechanics. I think it is a purple heart with a bow.
Yay.
So,
I was going to say, I
very
see
nice.
a kind of heart thing. So, yeah. A lot of people ask, well, what do you do? What do you have? The hardest thing I work with is lost pets. For me personally, everybody, my specialty is whatever it is. I'm not sure yet. Talking to dead things or pet, I don't know. I haven't found that. I can't find one niche and say, oh, that's my shtick, because I want you to leave knowing about diet, exercise. I'm a big fan of the dollar store because I don't want to spend any money. And when I tell you to try a new training thing, I'm like, go get a rope from the dollar store, go get a ball from the dollar store, go get a little Tupperware and carry the food around, whatever, because it might not work for you, because you're the executive on the floor with your pet. You have to decide what you guys need and what you don't need. And I'm going to give you all the ideas outside the box. I'm going to give you all that trial and that kind of stuff. But the hardest clients I deal with is lost pets. Everybody is so high energy. Everybody is panicked. Everybody is, Have you ever tried to talk to somebody who's like, I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And we all completely understand. completely understand. But the pets freaked out. The parents are freaked out. I saw a post, last year on a pet site that I was just casually reading, and somebody said, our dog got stolen. Does anybody know anything? And there were quite a few intuitives on there. So they left a phone number. I called and said, well, your neighbor took him. And she said, we thought so, but legally we can't, so we game planned what they would do about it, because the sad part, the puppy was getting old enough to breed. They hadn't had it fixed. And this is the whole reason why this dog got stolen, was because these people were going to plan to breed this dog. It was beautiful. It was a power breed. So they were thinking money. The hard part is the dog was very balanced and very loved, and just thought he'd come and get him. It's really hard to tell pets about. No, you got to complain, bark, meow, do something so we can hear you. Because a couple of them will say, well, you hear me? And it's like, yeah, but that's me. You mean they all don't? No, they all don't. We don't tune in. But a young man, actually, Dottie had him call me, and she's another psychic, and he was in a panic. His dog, little, not Chihuahua, little fluffy thing. He had put she stays in his truck when he comes and goes to the store or anything, and then he goes to a construction job. She comes with. So he had left her in the truck while he ran into his friends to grab something out of the apartment, and then came back, and the dog was gone. And somebody said, I think I saw somebody take her out of the truck. So he got a hold of me, and it's really great to get a hold of me as soon as you can. So we're early on, but this was weeks later, and he was just beside himself. This was his companion. This was everything that the companion means. It always took her everywhere. So we actually found her pretty quick. I don't think I've ever found a dog that quick. Again, it's my least favorite thing to do because everybody's so stressed. And I don't always find the pets because everybody's so stressed. So she was actually in the apartment complex, which he suspected, nearby. So I gave him tools. I said, you need to call her name. You need to go knock on everybody's door. He'd made flyers. So we were going to give flyers out. All this is way pre-pandemic, this a couple years ago, and that kind of stuff. And his dog was hilariously sad for him, but it's hilarious. I said, could you bark? And she's like, oh no, my dad is coming. I hear him down the hallway. My dad is coming. I was like, I know, but we don't know which apartment. Could you please bark? Could you please? Because they had loved her. They had taken care of her. She just thought she was like being babysat, puppy sat. So she didn't feel any threats. She didn't feel any danger, but they were seriously hiding her because she was very cute and adorable and all that kind of stuff. So I told him, I said, you got to knock on every door. You got to tell them why you're there. I mean, make as much racket, because it was a hallway that all the apartments had their door on. So these people heard her coming, and the puppy heard her coming, but she still wouldn't get up and bark or anything. It was really tough. It was really, really tough.
Wow.
So he kept knocking, and I said, you're working, because he started to freak the couple out, because it was a husband and wife. And they knew they'd stolen the puppy. I mean, how to get in the car, take the puppy out? Yeah, that's still stealing. I don't care if he didn't lock the door. So she came out, and I said, just keep making noise, because all the neighbors are going to hear about it, and they're going to see the dog. They're going to see your flyer. We're networking here. Just make as much noise, because your dog is way too balanced and way too loved, because she thinks, oh, Dad's coming. Great. This is not helping. She wasn't afraid. She hadn't been abused. She just figured, she was on vacation. Not really, just being handled. And the woman walked out. He got out to the lawn to go get more flyers. And the woman walked out with the dog in their hand. Oh, we found the dog. And what I told him is just say thank you. Walk away. Don't
you don't want to engage.
Just deal with whatever you want to later. But be thrilled to have the dog and walk away. Because that's not the time to confront them, and how dare you now, because we have no proof. The dog said, really, how's that going to hold up in court? The dog said you took me. I don't know how that works legally.
I don't think they're going to have a leg to stand on in that one.
Or tails or whiskers or nothing.
That was a good story.
It's just so heartbreaking, though, and that's why I beg all pet owners, talk to your pets. Talk to your pets.
I have a question for you, unrelated to that, but about talking to your pets. And I'd really like to know your opinion on this. So my mother, no, I think my sister, brother-in-law, and I went to get something to eat. And there was a man standing there with a very large falcon. And we were sitting outside at a restaurant, and he was there with this bird. And so we started talking to him, and, what was he doing? And he said that he'd been hired by the restaurant to just stand there with the falcon because it keeps all the other birds away.
From pooping on the guests.
Yes, and eating the guests' food and everything else. So anyway,
so wonderful.
He came over and put her name was Lily, I think. Lily, and put Lily on the chair next to me. And I was immediately terrified. And I thought to myself, after, working with you, I thought the bird's going to know immediately that you're terrified. So you need to calm yourself down. And it was looking at me right in the eye. And I just focused on how beautiful Lily is. And
not the talons. Don't look at these.
Oh my gosh, they were so
because if it's a
long.
bird of prey, those are serious. That's why they're called talons and not nails or little toes or no.
Yes.
But the face, the wings, the craft in the color, it's just breathtaking.
Absolutely beautiful. So here's my question for you. Do the other birds, so does Lily communicate to them without speaking, or they have to actually see Lily to know to stay away?
Well, nature as a whole, and we'll talk about that, animal kingdom, they're going to look for signs that we haven't noticed. They're going to look at feces. They're going to look at paws and claw marks. They're going to look at nests in trees. They're going to see somebody who was flying by a mile away that you never even saw. All of this is going to give them information. For example, if this is a bird who is new to the neighborhood, just hatched 6 months later or 6 months ago, and that kind of stuff. First of all, mom and dad should teach them, this is where we go, this is where they go. Because the birds of prey will eat the little ones. They will eat the smaller birds. That's what they do. They're really great at mousing and that type of stuff. But what I like is that they got a falconer, I hope is what his title was, somebody who specializes in these birds, and everything you have said he was caring for very well. And just the bird being in presence, all the other lesser birds are like, oh, heck no, I'm not going there, because that's, pick a boxer, giant, there's some giant man boxer bird that's going to take us out. If you go to the crows, you go to the blackbirds, highly intelligent, very intuitive. They steal your stuff. I've had tons of people write articles that they put their clothes, like expensive bras that are hand washed or lacy something or other, and poof, they're gone. And then they find their nest later and they got them all there because they've decided it was pretty. And because the gems on them sometimes attract them.
Interesting.
But it is really, they think it through. If you try, everybody gets nervous about all different things. You have to get centered and respectful and that type of stuff. Don't be a threat. Don't do people response and get all upset. You need to stay calm. Don't run for your life. Back up slowly. It depends on what animal you're dealing with. Tiger's going to be different than an elephant because some of them you're just never going to be able to outrun that one.
Exactly. Well, in this case, the trainer, the handler, had Lily on the chair, which was literally this close to me, and of course he had something. It wasn't a leash. I don't know what it was.
It is considered a leash because they've got it around their leg. So if they fly off, they can only go so many feet, and then they drop to the ground. And that's okay. It is considered a leash.
Well, I could tell by the length of this leash and how far away the chair was that
how far you needed to sit.
Right, that Lily could have easily attacked me without, in a second, but I've remained very calm. But I thought to myself, if you think about how many times if you eat outside. In California, the weather's beautiful all the time, and birds, bugs, things come and they ruin the whole experience. That there's a whole market out there for people. If you have a falcon, start approaching restaurants. And this guy said on this island where we are that he's actually been contracted with most of the restaurants to keep the birds away. And I thought that was really interesting, that just because the falcon's there.
Well, because he's the hierarchy. So if you're going to bring a poodle to a tiger fight, I think the poodle will lose, but the tiger's definitely going to win. And you get the lion, and the whole point with the lion's mane is protection. That's supposed to be a beauty mark. If the mane is in really great shape, you can really tell how healthy the lion is, and that's the one who's going to get to mate because they're healthy, they're strong, they're feeding their family, they're going to protect the pride and that type of stuff. They also have fake ones. If you ever see on roofs, fences, everywhere are owls. Wooden owls.
Seen that.
They're huge. They're the same thing as this falcon. Because the birds don't go up and say, "Hey, Bob, how's your day?" Bob, what happened, Bob? Bob, why are you so stiff? Oh, no,
and Bob, I thought you were a spider. No.
Yeah, exactly. I see Frank is going for a ride. So birds don't stop to go, "Whoa, who's that?" But you do need to change it up. You need to sometimes make a different plan. But that's where you see these fake owls, because owls are birds of prey. They're also going to get you if you're there. They're not just eating mice. That is easier for them, but they are higher up than the crows, pigeons, all of those that are seed eaters and not necessarily these massive carnivores. So they win the day. You got a bigger beak, they win the day. But that's why you see those things, and you'll see them in garden centers all the time selling them.
Yeah, I have seen that in different people's homes, and I'm thinking we need to get one here, because if you want to sit out back, the birds, it's interesting. It's almost like this is a highway where we are, and the birds, because my mom will reach up, she's like, "Oh, there they are." And they fly the same pattern, like towards the end of the day, they fly out this way. I don't know where they're going, but it's
somewhere for the evening, not maybe, and there are better trees to roost in. That's the wrong word, but better trees to sleep in, better safety, all that kind of stuff. So you'll see a lot of pigeons and whatnot in New York City. I know, I was there. I saw lots and lots, and they'll go in for the food, all the crap that people drop on the ground, or purposely or not, and then they'll go to the trees, or they'll go out of the city. What's really disappointing is they made a whole movie on the falcons coming back to the park, but the construction and people and all that type of stuff and getting poisoned. What people don't realize, and I'd love to do a whole show on this, Jacalyn, is using poison, using rat poisoning. What you don't see is you're poisoning the rat because you don't want them. I get that. They have exterminators that will come get them and do other things. But when the rat leaves, they don't die usually in your home. They usually die within a day or two with the poison. Is then one of those birds of prey eats the rat. And so we're really causing a chain reaction of decimation of the wildlife because we're using Raid, we're using Roundup, and now, of course, we're all getting sick from the years of using Roundup, and we're all killing animals down the food chain because we're poisoning one. So we've just got to figure out how to do it better. We as humanity, I believe, don't coexist very well.
Really
on that happy note, I will end.
On that happy note, it's the end of our show.
As co-living on this planet, as co-owners of it, we need to do better. And that's why we're all terrified of the heat wave. We're terrified of the fires because they're coming. We haven't left the greenery enough there. The animals got it right. They know how to only take what they need. What we as humans do is we always take more than we need, and then it goes to waste, and we throw it away. And you go to the landfills one day, and you'll see just how much ridiculous waste we have.
Waste on top of waste.
Exactly.
Yes.
A wrapper on a wrapper on a wrapper. Why did I need 4 wrappers on the Twinkie? I don't know. Twinkies are never going to go anywhere. They did tests like the McDonald's hamburger. Do you remember this 25 years ago? They put a McDonald's hamburger out and put a little Twinkie out. And they left it on like a bar or something like for 10 years. I'm thinking,
no, that's
a lie. Somebody did it with a hamburger and it got smaller, but it was still edible.
Still there.
I don't know who tried eating it. I'm going to leave that.
It wasn't me.
Thanks for another great Friday.
Thank you for another great Friday. Thanks to Patty for calling in. I think that's great. We'll have more call-ins. We've got another show coming right up. So Aminah, I'm going to spotlight you and just tell us where we can reach you.
So Bridging Worlds, I'm going to go the right way. There we go. Bridging Worlds, I can't see the B. .us. I just upgraded it. New pictures, all kinds of fun things. And I can talk to anybody from anywhere in the world. We have a good phone connection. If you want to get on Zoom, that's fine, but I don't need to see anything. I'm also an empath, so I hear and feel what you are going through. And a trainer, so I can talk on many, many types of things that you need with your pet. Call me anytime, and all you have to do is go to bridgingworlds.us.
All right. Thank you, bridgingworlds.us. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely. You be safe out there.
All right. Thanks. You too. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for being here. We are wrapping up the week with one final show, Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. My guest has started a company called Child Proof America, and we're going to be talking about sex trafficking, something that doesn't get talked about very much. It's a serious subject. We don't see a lot of it in the news, but we're going to be talking about it today. So I hope you join us in 30 minutes. We will be back with my guest. So please stay where you are, stay tuned, get something to drink, and just stay with us because it's going to be a great program. Thank you again for watching, and we'll be back really soon.